Hey mathematicians, it's another day to learn about fractions. Today in lesson 5.8, we're going to work on area models for fraction multiplication. Grab that whiteboard marker and eraser, and your math journal. I want you to write number 1, 2, or 3. You're going to write a T if the statement is true, or an F if the statement is false or not true. So 5/10 is less than 49/100. True or false? Number 2, 1 and 88/100 is greater than 1 and 9/10. True or false? Number 3, 12 and 35/100 is less than 12 and 4/10. True or false? Pause the video if needed. Number 1, 5/10 is less than 49/100. That is false. 4/10 and 5/10, no matter what, 5 is always more than 4 in the tenths place. Number 2, 1 and 88/100 is greater than 1 and 9/10. That is false. The 1 and the 1 are the same, so then I go to the tenths. 8 is smaller or less than 9 in the tenths place. Number 3, 12 and 35/100 is less than 12 and 4/10. 3 is always less than 4, so that is true. Go ahead and erase your whiteboard. Let's try another set of them, number 1 to 3. Again, T for true, F for false. Number 1, 6 and 785 is greater than 6 and 79/100. T or F. Number 2, 99 is less than 1/10. And number 3, 5 and 289 is less than 5 and 3/10. All right, number 1. It is false. 7 and 7 the same. 8 is smaller than 9. Number 2 is true. 0 in the tens place is less than 1. And number 3, 5 and 289 is less than 5 and 3/10. That is true. 5 and the 5 are the same, so I go to the tenths. 2 is smaller than 3. Go ahead and erase your whiteboard. I want you to draw a square to show and shade what 2/3 of 2/3 is. So go ahead, draw a rectangle. First thing we're going to do is divide it into 3 equal parts. That's what our denominator tells us. Shade in 2 out of those 3 parts. Now we're going to find out what 2/3 of that is. So we're going to divide it into 3 equal parts. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to shade in 2 out of those 3. Remember, we're only shading the part that's already been shaded. So here's 1 out of the 3. Here is 2 out of the 3. This was never shaded to begin with. This was never just shaded to begin with. So what is 2/3 of 2/3? 9 equal parts. 4 are double shaded. 4 9ths. Why do you think this diagram is called an area model? Well, what it does is it shows, or is a model of, a shaded rectangle, and we can find its area. How does this area relate to multiplication? Well, the formula for area is length times width, and you can multiply the side lengths of a rectangle to find its area. How does this area model show the product of 2/3 of 2/3? Well, the shaded part is a rectangle that is 2/3 unit long and 2/3 unit wide. The formula for the area of a rectangle is length times width. So all I have to do is take 2/3 times 2/3, and guess what? I get 4/9. Let's go ahead and try that in your math journal. Would you please turn to page 176? 176. This diagram shows one way to represent 2/3 times 2/3, or 2/3 of 2/3. What are the dimensions of the large square? Well, it's 1 unit by 1 unit. What is the area of the large square? Well, the length is 1 and the width is 1. So 1 times 1 is 1 square unit. What are the dimensions of the shaded region? The shaded region. So let's just look at this shaded region. So it is 2/3 of a unit of the whole thing, remember, by 2/3. There's 1/3, there's 2/3. There's 1/3, there's 2/3. So what is the area of the shaded rectangle? It is 4/9. Write a multiplication number sentence for the area of the shaded rectangle. You should have a line here. We would say 2/3 times 2/3 equals 4/9. Again, remember, it's your responsibility. If you need more time, pause the video. Number 2, label the blank tick marks on the number line. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. So this first one would be 1/4. Write this in, 2/4, 3/4, and we know that 1 would be the same as 4/4. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. Let's go ahead and label 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and we know that 4/4 would be the same as 1 whole. So we've done that. B, what are the dimensions of the shaded rectangle? It is 1/4 by 3/4. 1/4 by 3/4. What is the area of the shaded rectangle? Hint, the area of the big square is 1 square unit. Well, in order to figure that out, I have to multiply. So I'm actually going to skip down to D for just a minute. It says, write a multiplication number sentence for the area of the shaded rectangle. Well, remember, it's 1/4 times 3/4, or what we would say 1/4 of 3/4. And now we just multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. There's 3 shaded. How many total? 4 times 4 is 16. If you counted each one of these, there would be 16 of them. So what is the area? It is 3/16. Number 3, label the blank tick marks on the number lines. So let's do that first. 1, 2, 3 equal sections. So it's divided into thirds. 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3 is the same as 1 whole. 1, 2, 3. This one's divided into 4 equal parts. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4 would be the same as 1 whole. So I've done that. What are the dimensions of the shaded rectangle? It is 2/3, stops right here, by 2/4. What is the area of the shaded rectangle? I'm going to skip down to D because that helps me answer C. Write a multiplication number sentence for the area of the shaded rectangle. So again, it's 2/3 of, or multiplied by 2/4. How many are shaded? 4. 2 times 2 is 4. How many total squares are there? 3 rows of 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So the answer is, it is 4/12 of a square unit. Let's move on to page 177. It says, follow these steps using the diagram at the right to help you multiply 3/4 by 2/6. First of all, label the blank tick marks on the horizontal number line. Horizontal. Let's count how many equal sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourths. Ready? 1/4, write it in. 2/4. 3/4. Done. Label the blank tick marks on the vertical. 1 equal section, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to label it with 6. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and 6/6. Done. Shade a rectangle that is, we have to go back up here. So that is 3/4 by 2/6. And I just went back up to this original number problem. So if we're going to find the area of the shaded, we actually have to shade it first. So we're going to shade 3/4 of 2/6. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is shade in 2/6. Now I just want 3/4 of 2/6. So now I have to do 3/4. Here's where 3/4 is, so only shade in 3/4. How many boxes or squares, rectangles, have 2 colors shaded? I could actually just get rid of this. There are 6 boxes, and how many boxes in all? Let's actually go down to E first. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 6 is 24. There's 24 rectangles, and 6 of those are shaded. In problems 2 or 3, label the blank tick marks, then shade a rectangle with the given dimensions. Thirdly, find the area of your rectangle. And fourth, fill in the blank to complete the fraction multiplication number sentence. So the first thing I'm going to do is fill in the blank tick marks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. There's 1, 2, 3 equal parts. So 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Done with that first one. Now I'm going to shade in 2/3. Next, I'm going to find 3/5 of that. 3/5. So now I'm just shading in 3/5. Let me do a different color. 3/5 of what's already shaded. So now I can erase this part. It doesn't have 2 colors in it. You can leave it if you want. What is the area? Well, 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 3 is 15. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's 15 rectangles in all. So 6/15 is shaded. And the last problem, 5/6 by 1/4. So first of all, I have to label the blank tick mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This denominator also tells me it's in sixth. So I'm going to label it 1 6, 2 6, 3 6, 4 6, 5 6. The next fraction tells me it's in fourths, but I can count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. You bet. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4 equal 1 whole. Now let's do our shading. Let's start with shading 1/4. Now in another color, let's take 5/6 of that. 1 6, 2 6, 3 6, 4 6, 5 6. This last part isn't shaded in both colors, so let's go ahead and solve. There are 5 shaded rectangles. 6 times 4 is 24. There are 24 rectangles in all, so the area is 5/24. That is it for today's lesson.